Today, Wu-Chang dropped a new patch and it cowardly includes 0 sexy skins for Emperor Zhu Yujian. This is CheckPoint. Welcome to CheckPoint. Hollow Knight Silksong is coming out on September 4th.
Hey, spoilers?
Sorry, Hollow Knight Silksong is the sequel to Hollow Knight. Hollow Knight is a side-scroller released in 2015.
Come on! Ads for The First Descendant started to show up last weekend on TikTok, and for one streamer, it felt like the ads were more targeted than usual. Variety streamer Daniel the Demon had to live through something that might be coming for us all eventually. Sitting down to scroll on the toilet and being served ads from yourself. A-list movie stars slumming it to sell food delivery apps are probably used to it by now, but there's a key difference in that scenario and the one from this weekend.
Continuous, enthusiastic consent!
That's right, Bonathan. Daniel the Demon wasn't approached by an ad agency to promote this game. His face and gaming background were plagiarized by the nemesis of artists the world over, generative AI. Daniel the Demon replies in the comment section of Game Central's TikTok, I have no affiliation nor contract with The First Descendant. They stole my face/reactions from my most viral video and used AI to change what my mouth says and a voice that isn't mine. I did not consent for my likeness to be used. They don't go on to say that they're extremely disturbed and irritated by this experience, or that they want to tear down the existing power structures, allowing AI to continue robbing us all of regular, healthy human experiences like trusting our senses, but it's pretty clearly implied. As for the company responsible for the ads, will they face any consequences? Fuck no! This is 2025! By the time any concerned party has surmounted the shell game of who could be at fault between the game developer to the ad agency to the social media platform, the buck will have passed into obscurity, wrapped in a box of end-user license agreements, and bound tightly in the red tape of conducting a thorough joint investigation to determine the facts. Spoilers, there'll be no justice for Daniel the Demon besides, hopefully, the ads being removed from regular rotation, and if instead luck and hope for humanity prevail, and I'm super wrong about that, well, for one thing, awesome! Congrats! But also, don't bother blaming me. Direct your ire to patreon.com/loadingreadyrun.
Haters and losers the world over rejoiced after Sony announced in a PlayStation blog post that, effective August 21st, prices in the United States on PlayStation 5, PlayStation 5 Digital Edition, and PlayStation 5 Pro would all be increasing, citing a challenging economic environment affecting many global businesses. The terse post clarified that the $50 price hike would not apply to accessories or to markets outside the United States. The wording of the post is vague, leading some to speculate on which facets of the current economic environment exactly qualify as challenging, because our editorial guidelines recommend utterly bafflingly unnecessarily fucked because an orange moron used ChatGPT to hallucinate punitive tariffs. Little treats like the PS5 were long believed to be the consolation prize after the pillars of the post-war economic boom, such as housing, education, and upward mobility, fell victim to previous challenging economic environments. While the price of bread has seen dramatic inflation in the last several months, this sudden hit to circuses comes at an especially inconvenient time when many Americans call out for fantastical distractions from strife at home. Ah, fuck.
The term skibidi has been added to the Cambridge Dictionary, but rest assured, I am still getting paid to tell you about this. Webster defines the Cambridge Dictionary as one of our lesser-known competitors, but at least they're not as high-nosed as those dullards at Oxford. Cambridge tends to adopt words into its dictionary based on current common usage from a larger database called the Cambridge English Corpus, which contains over 2 billion words. So they had options, and Skibbity bubbled to the top, which is fine, but a lot of you may be wondering, when did CheckPoint just become culture blog bullshit? I want to remind you that despite it being Gen Z slang, skibbity has its roots in Skibbity Toilet, which comes from a web series developed using Gary's mod, which uses a ton of Valve assets, and now we're back in video game territory. What's more important is that as an certified old, I can finally have someone tell me what skibbity means rather than simply inferring it through context just in time for it to not matter at all. So, Cambridge defines skibbity as a word that can have different meanings, such as cool or bad, or can be used with no real meaning as a joke. Sick.
Time once again for everyone's third favorite recurring checkpoint segment, reading the patch notes. This time, Wuchang Fallen Feathers, the Souls-like, got its 1.5 patch this week, and it's a little bit of a landmine. By which I mean further reduce the damage of landmines in chapters 2 and 3, and reduce the number of landmines in chapter 3. So clearly, developer Lindsay Games was a little too landmine focused. Also noted is fixed the issue where the Buddha statue could disappear from the player's inventory when force quitting the game, which is a good change as Buddhism has a dim view of force quitting. But the patch note that is getting all the buzz is the seemingly innocuous added dialogues for some NPCs to complete quests. We will further optimize the exhaustion animations in the future to improve the plot performance. Which sounds very minor on its own, but now it's time for a cursory and in no way deep history lesson. Wuchang is made in China and set in China, specifically around the fall of the Great Ming Dynasty. The Ming was the last dynasty led by Han Chinese, the Han being the largest ethnic group in the world, so also the largest ethnic group in China. The Ming was followed by the Qing dynasty, which was Manchu-led, and was also the last dynasty, collapsing in and around 1912. Again, this is very surface level, but the Qing dynasty is not usually shown in a positive light in Chinese media, as it immediately preceded the modern Chinese Republic, while the Ming, ethnically similar with the majority of the population, is looked on more fondly, and with the added benefit of a 400-year removal from modern day. So, Wuchang, known to us with the subtitle Fallen Feathers, but with a Chinese subtitle that translates as Last Days of the Ming, has its protagonist fighting Ming Dynasty faithful, including many named historical figures. So, seemingly caving to online backlash, notably not from the government, but allegedly from a vocal minority of Han supremacists, Lin Zi have altered the game so Ming-era figures no longer die, but instead become exhausted, in some cases explaining how they were simply testing the player. This change apparently undercuts the narrative, lessens impact of otherwise cool boss fights, and in some cases breaks the game, specifically in one chapter where a majority of the field enemies are Ming faithful who are now no longer aggressive, turning a whole section of the game from a brutal challenge into a picturesque walk. There's even new recorded dialogue for some of this, which is a lot of effort to achieve the dizzying mids of an aggregate Steam score that reads mixed.
Okay, I'm ready now. It's okay. Please tell me about Silksong.
Oh, what else is there to say? It comes out September 4th. We just found out this morning.
There's no other news?
Not really. No, they're not giving review codes to anybody.
Oh. Well, you know what that means. 5 out of 10.
Listen here, you little shit.
Coming up, another article asks, is Roblox getting worse? It still can? To be honest, I'm scared as shit to open this article and find out how.
Speaking of articles,
yeah,
and related to Silksong, was checking out the Bloomberg article on why Silksong has taken so long.
Yeah, it's Jason Schreier did that, right?
Yeah, and because that also just came out this morning, and I literally almost teared up reading it because the news is that there isn't news really. Why is it taking so long? There's no development hell. There's no friction among the team. It's that
we didn't have to pivot to 3 different engines.
No,
yeah,
they're very offline. They apparently were not really aware how much of a meme this had become, and they made a lot of money on the first game, and so they just sort of were working on it and having a great time. building the game, and they've been like, yeah, this is a lot of fun. We're adding stuff to the game. We have all these ideas. We're going to just keep on making it. And then in 2022, they were like, yeah, I think it'll be out next year. And then they missed that because they were like, oh, wait, actually, we want to just keep making this better. But it sounds like they're having a really good time doing a thing that they love. And I was just like, oh, thank God.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's the kind of freedom that it speaks to, because then I had said this earlier in conversations where it was like, we hear the number $200 million getting passed around a lot. And it's like, I don't know what that represents, because it's like, it's supposed to be the total revenue that they made off of Hollow Knight.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, and it's a self-published game, as Heather has pointed out to me. And I'm like, okay, so publishers aren't taking like a massive cut of that. Different releases might, like, I think Fangamer was the one who she said Fangamer is the one who produced the physical release that was like the bonus editions and stuff. And I'm like, so people are getting money from different sources and stuff too. But if ultimately they're ending up with that much money coming in house, I guess there's no real rush for you to feel like I need to, we need to get this out on the market. We need to finish it. It's like, I want to make the very best thing I can make. So why not indulge yourself in that way?
Yeah.
And also, if you're in the middle of doing that kind of production, like, you could indulge yourself in other ways, like, oh, my partner just had a kid, or maybe it's our third kid, and I need to take 6 months off from work so that I can help them adjust to, having more kids in the house. And so maybe it's like the game could get delayed that way, or you might have a thing of, I can't do as much work at these times because that, or it's like, man, I really just would like to have 3 weeks vacation somewhere and take the family and go do that. And it's like, you do have a lot of freedom, and you're not under anybody else's timeline. And that might be frustrating to fans who are waiting on the thing.
Understandable.
But at the same time, it's like, if, we're going to get it done, we know we're going to get it done, so we want to see that happen. I'm like, I do like the freedom that implies of, we know we can take the opportunity ourselves to make the very best thing and not completely stress ourselves out over it. I'm like, it's a thing I'd love to see that in even more industries.
Yeah.
How do you do that with like 100 people on a team?
Yeah. Well, it's a very small team, but the anecdote I liked from the article was that the lead designer, having made a bunch of money off of Hollow Knight, did not, buy a big house or something. And in fact, in the article, laments would like actually to move to a smaller apartment.
Yeah. Well,
so he has less to clean.
Yeah. I love that.
I'm like, hell yeah.
The view into that mind that's kind of like, I have a 2-bedroom apartment, but having to clean that second bedroom, and it's like, if it's not a bedroom you ever use, if you never go in there, how dirty is it actually getting? It's like, yeah, but you don't understand. I got to clean it.
Yeah.
I got to continue. So why would I keep doing that? And I'm like, you're right. You're absolutely right. The kind of lack of avarice that it just shows on that, at least what we're getting from the story. And I'm like, I'm inclined to believe that all this is true. There's lots of people who are indies that are making games in this way on very tiny teams that blow up, and they're like, rather than turn into like some sort of like, I'm going to get out there and just show how much money I've got. It's like, I just want to continue to live my life, and only because I'm only equipped to really deal with the trappings of fortune in a very small way. Maybe I bought my parents their house or something, but that's about it, right?
It's also what I find hilarious to me. This is something I find funny from a meta level, is that Jason Schreier does like these amazing like industry stories where he gets people to talk to him anonymously, and he gets really good sourcing and does these breakdowns of like game development and publishing disasters. And like, he's been inside, he's done postmortems on like why things failed and like what's the real story behind these layoffs or whatever. And so he was teasing, he's like, I have a story coming out tomorrow on like what has taken Silksong so long to be delayed. Right. And I'm like, oh boy, what's happening at Team Cherry? Yeah. And it turns out, so it's like, you're sort of, because it's literally because it's him doing the article, you're sort of primed that it's been a disaster. Yeah. And it turns out
they took their time.
Everyone's been having a delightful time.
Yeah.
And I went to the Hollow Knight subreddit, and everyone's like, oh, thank God. Hell yeah. Oh, this is great.
Yeah. And like the stuff that I'm supposing, where it's like vacation or helping out around the house or needing a break for burnout or whatever. It's like, we don't know if any of that's true. That's not, I don't think, reflected in the article or anything. No one has said, oh yeah, that's really what happened. It's like, no, I don't know any of those things. But it is nice to think that, yeah, you can take your time and you can develop the thing that you want to develop the way you want to see it get made. That's as creators, it's like, it's so encouraging to be like, you can have a fan base that even as loud and as vocal and as completely just like the onslaught they have on chat communities and stuff. It's like, but still, ultimately, when we show that this is how it's gone, they're like, yes, excellent. We are in favor of them having a good time.
Yeah.
Feels good.
I mean, we experienced some of that when we were doing Friday nights, and it's like, hey, I'm really sorry. I feel awful. I don't have the luxury of being as offline as Team Cherry was, but I'm like, it's taking longer than we thought, and to edit this together. And all the responses on the Kickstarter were like, take your time, make it good. And I was like, thank you.
Yeah.
So really appreciate that, everybody.
Which is, kind of the same thing with, just to point out to anybody, as far as the Friday Nights Playmats goes, is that
right.
they're coming out of production. Like, they're being finished printing, and I had put a thing on Kickstarter post. Maybe you've seen it, maybe you haven't if you had backed the thing, but if you haven't updated your address, you may have missed your opportunity to do so because we've already locked that out. But if you are somebody who's like, oh man, maybe mine is still wrong, and you go check it, you're like, it is wrong, you can email us through the Kickstarter, and I'm doing my best to like update all that stuff now for people as well, just to ensure that it's like, we want to make sure you can get the playmat with a little fuss. Obviously, you've had to wait a long time, and it sucks. It sucked for us too, but yeah.
What were you saying, Paul?
I was just saying for Silksong, it's like, the ideal development environment, and all it took was $200 million
and 7 years.
Yeah, and a team that isn't so big that you can fill an entire cheering section of a stadium with it, kind of deal, right? It's like, oh, that's how you make it work. Is way too much money with way too few people and so much and unlimited time.
I do kind of love calling Silksong a $200 million game.
Yeah.
Patreon.com/loadingreadyrun, or by becoming a member on this YouTube channel, you can support us directly. We're not expecting $200 million, but anything helps.
But really Team Cherry, if you're out there, maybe think about goosing the Patreon.
We could make a sketch about Silksong. Why not?
Sure, why not? Yeah.
All right.
And store.loadingreadyrun.com.
Oh yes, it lives
please
again.
check that out, and we're all happy to hear that some of you are buying stuff, and it's lovely for us too.
Great. Bye, everybody. News.